Laura Schlossberg, Managing Director at BK Asset Management.
BK Asset Management's Kathy Lean.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I don't know if I'm trying to figure out a way to remove the banner on the bottom. For some reason, it's like I got to put something up there right now this morning. It's not giving me much of an option. But join our free trading community if you haven't done so already. Let me see if I can set up a new. I don't want to screw a new layout with just my screen.
Yeah, you want me to take away the banner?
Yes, if you can, because I tried to earlier and it created some sort of other thing on there. Good morning, everyone. Say hello. We're just kicking off. We've got a slow start to the morning. So we thank you, Boris, for doing that. So we have a second for me to fix my technical errors. And I'm actually going to fix my background. Okay, so before we begin, I always like to get a sense of, who's new here. If you're brand new here, we like to give you a little bit more love and to make sure that, we pay more attention to your questions than everyone else. Although I promise you, I will pay attention to everyone's questions. But who's brand new here? Good morning, Miguel, Ben, Sean, Kwanle, Chris, John, Peter, Ross. Everyone who's tuned in already from Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome, Sean Toyahazaki. I hope I didn't butcher your name. It's this is supposed to be a very busy trading week. This is supposed to be the first Friday of the month, which means what are we supposed to get on the first Friday of the month? Take a wild guess. If you're joining for the first time, you'll know that I love interactivity. I want you to participate. I want to make sure that you're paying attention, you're understanding, and you're learning, because I truly believe that the markets reward the prepared. And you're coming this Monday because you know the importance of being prepared this week. And I'm going to talk about the 5 things that you're going to have to be watching this week. But before we get into that, let me give you a pop quiz. What is supposed to be released the first Friday of every month? It's supposed to be, one of the best weeks of the month for volatility. Let's see if we got some answers here. Yes, Peter, Ben, Kwanle, Lirid. I think Lirid, I haven't seen you in the room yet, so welcome. Non-farm payrolls. We are normally expected to get non-farm payrolls on the first Friday of the month. And this is the first week of November. And unfortunately, the US government is shut down and we will not be getting non-farm payrolls this week. But just because we're not getting non-farm payrolls doesn't mean it's not going to be a week of volatility. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have some nice opportunity, because we will be getting a lot of data this week that will still give us a really good temperature check of the US economy. And we're going to walk through all of them because it's going to be very important for you guys to understand what's on the calendar, for you guys to understand what to be prepared with, because this week will still be a very, very busy week. In fact, I think that in many ways, this week will be there'll probably be more volatility, I think, than you would normally anticipate. And the reason for that is because there's a lot going on. First off, the US government is still shut down. I mean, I said there's 5 things to watch this week before we get to the calendar. And the first one is that the US government is still shut down. I believe we are on the 34th day of the shutdown. Who remembers how long the last shutdown lasted? What was the longest shutdown last time? Take a wild guess. Anyone know? Anyone know what the longest shutdown before this one was? Yes, 35 days. That's tomorrow, right? That's tomorrow, the longest shutdown. Now, clearly Trump doesn't care because, I don't think it's a milestone that really worries him all that much. So there's a very good chance that this will be the longest shutdown that we've had in a very long time, because based upon how everything's going, there's no way, in my opinion, of course, they could surprise us at any point in time, but there's no way that the shutdown is going to end tomorrow, making it the same as last time. So government shutdown. and it's finally taking a bite. We've got furloughed workers. We've got lots of miscellaneous headlines related to TSA, flight controllers, airport delays that are affecting businesses as well as consumers. We're moving into the busiest travel period here in the U.S., which is Thanksgiving, and so it's starting to take a bite. We have a lot of workers. I think it's 1.4 million that did not receive their last paycheck, and so this is becoming a very big problem, and they're not showing up for work. Some of them haven't received 2 to 3 paychecks, and so they're thinking, why do I have to come to work for free? Why don't I just use my vacation days if I'm not going to get paid? So we're entering a very dangerous period. So, the first thing to watch this week is, could the U.S. government be reopened? Could we get, the shutdown ending this week? Now, it doesn't seem like there's been enough progress for that to happen, but that is most certainly one of the most important things to watch, which is whether or not we're going to get the U.S. government shutdown ending. And for those of you that have been trading for some time, you'll throughout this period, you'll know that the main thing here these days is really headlines. It's either tariff headlines or political headlines, and so this is really the key. And so, secondly, this is also election week in the U.S. We have regional elections on Tuesdays, but, some of the regional elections could, especially in New York, New Jersey, there's some very important votes. Those could show whether political winds are shifting. And if political winds are shifting, maybe, one side or the other will feel pressured to come to the table and actually reach a deal. So the regional elections could also be very important. So those are 2 things, at least headline-wise, that we're watching. Number 3, well, actually, that's number 2. They're all, I bunched them together. Number 2, the Federal Reserve is actually out of its blackout period. So normally, 2 weeks before the 2 weeks before the Federal Reserve meeting, they enter a blackout period, which means that they're not allowed to say anything. And now they're out of the blackout period. Now, last week, the Federal Reserve meeting was one of the most important things that happened. Now, you may or may not know that last week they cut interest rates, but Powell came out and said, December rate cut is not a done deal. But there were very strong opinions. Now, I hope some of you traded with us with that live, because it was, we laid out a game plan and we executed it properly. So last time when the Federal Reserve met, we had 1 vote for 50 basis point rate cut, 1 vote for nothing at all. And then the rest obviously voted for 25 basis points. So we will hear from them. We'll hear from many of them this week and next week. And so, their bias is going to tell us whether or not, or their speeches, their comments are going to tell us whether or not we are going to get a interest rate cut in December. So that is also going to be very, very important. So we've got number 1, the U.S. government shutdown and the elections. Number 2, we have Fed speak. Number 3, this is the last week of important earnings reports from the U.S. So, all of the earnings that have supported the markets, this is the last week that we're finally going to get the earnings reports. So keep an eye out for that, because, that's when that's done, maybe we won't get those good news that continues to support the equity market. Number 4, and probably one of the most important, because these are actually tangible things. We don't have non-farm payrolls on the first Friday of this month, but we will get a lot of other data. Like tomorrow, we're getting the JOLTS report, which is the job openings report. And then we're getting the ADP report, which is the private sector payroll report. And then we have ISM services, and we have ISM manufacturing. So those 4 reports are going to be very, very important. And these 4 reports are going to give us a really critical temperature check of the economy. Because first off, JOLTS measures job openings. We already know, and maybe you don't know, but maybe you've seen, there's been a lot of headlines. Amazon, all these companies have cut significant amount of workers. And so the question now is, are they cutting job listings, job openings as well? I mean, it would hard to imagine that they're not, right? If they're not, if they're firing people, you would imagine that they're going to be not hiring either. So, all of that is going to be important. ADP, private sector payrolls, that's really going to be, that's the most tangible thing that we have. Are they reporting fewer private sector payroll growth? And if we see a pretty ugly number, that's going to be very bearish for the dollar, and we'll kind of write out the game plan about what it means, but for stocks, for the dollar, for gold, but it would be, that's very, very important. And then the ISM services and manufacturing. Now, some people don't follow these numbers, but they're actually my favorite numbers. And the reason why I like the ISM numbers so much is because they provide the most recent piece of data. If you think about, if we had retail sales or jobs, it's always for last month. ISMs are for this month. And so they provide us for the most recent pieces of data, or at least the most recent month. And then we also, I missed one, have the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index at the end of the week. So stocks are hovering at record highs, but job market seems to be softening. How are consumers feeling? That report on Friday is going to tell us how consumers are feeling. So recap. Number one is the U.S. government shutdown and the elections on Tuesday, the regional elections. Number two is the Fed speak. We have the Fed's out of its blackout period, and so we're going to hear from a lot of Federal Reserve officials. Number three, we have the last big earnings week for the U.S. And number four, we have a lot of very critical economic data. So what's the last thing that we all have to be watching? That is going to be the central bank rate decisions. We have interest rate decisions in the UK, the Bank of England, and the Reserve Bank of Australia. And as we often go through interest rate decisions, we look at what is expected, and so those will be very important. There's also other reports from other countries, like the jobs report from Canada, that's going to be very important. But there's one other thing, a bonus that I want to pop quiz you on. What is one other thing that you should be watching this week? What is the other pop quiz that you should be watching? Anyone take a wild guess? I'll give you a clue. It's related to the US, but it's very important. Pop quiz. One other thing that's happening this week that could affect the markets. And if you don't know, give me a question mark. At least let me know you're paying attention. Give me a question mark. At least you're telling me that you're paying attention. Because it's perfectly fine not to know. Okay, I mean, tariffs are important. Yes, we've got people saying tariffs. We got someone saying Venezuela. Yes, we've got to watch that as well. But a lot more question marks, which I love. I love your question marks. China, the deal is pretty much done. I don't think, we're done with that. They've basically, last week, they basically agreed that they're going to pause their tariffs for a year. So we're done with that. So I love all this. Yes, yes. We're going to let's give claps and high fives and fist bumps to B. Todd. Yes, the Supreme Court. Come on, let's give him some love because he is absolutely right. And Kanye and Halo, Kanye, yes. So on Wednesday, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear the case on the tariffs and whether they're legitimate or not. And so they're going to decide the future of the Trump era tariffs and whether or not the government is going to have to refund these companies for the tariffs. So that's happening on Wednesday. And that's a very, very big deal. But chances are they are not going to make a decision. No surprise, right? It takes a long time for them to make a decision. They're going to hear it. They're probably not going to make a decision. But the one little wrinkle is, and maybe some of you are more politically savvy than I am, the one little wrinkle is that maybe they could mandate that the tariffs are delayed until a decision is made. I don't think it's going to happen because this is a Trump has stacked the Supreme Court, but you never know. And regardless of whether it happens or not, you need to know that it's on the calendar. You need to know so that you're prepared because the markets reward the prepared and punish those who are not. And one of the most important things, my job is to get you prepared by letting you know that this is on the calendar on Wednesday. We're going to get headlines. We're going to hear about it. There's a small chance that they could potentially mandate that the tariffs pause until a decision is made. I don't think it's going to happen, like I said, but that is definitely something that is a serious risk. So now you know. Now you know that these are all of the main factors. These are the 5 things that are affecting the markets. So let's first go to, I want to share with you my screen. Hold on. Share my screen, and I'm going to share with you my entire screen. All right, you see my Google. All right, let me show you what has changed in the CME Fed Fund futures. We're going to take a look at the CME Fed Fund futures, 30-day CME Fed Fund futures. So the 30-day CME Fed Fund futures, and we are going to take a look at, where is this? This is actually, this is not the one I want. I want the Fed Watch. So I got distracted because someone is telling me that something is going on in NASDAQ. So I'm going to pop my quotes up to the top to make sure that I'm not missing anything. All right. I mean, I do see the moves that are happening in the markets right now. And, you know, it's a little bit, but it's not really that big of a move. I think it's probably this headline here. Amazon inks the $38 billion deal with OpenAI to supply NVIDIA chips. That seems to be the one headline that's just popped up that could be driving that Amazon up, and then driving the tech stocks up. So, you know, it doesn't really affect us too much, but, you know, if those of you asking why it's up, that's probably why. All right, CME Fed Fund futures. We're now in the December contract, which means that we're now focusing on what happens in December. So the market, as you can see, right now, interest rates are at 3.25%, 4%. The markets are pricing in a 33% chance that there will be no change in interest rates in December. This is a huge change because a week ago, the market was pricing in a 94% chance of a 25 basis point rate cut. So this has dropped quite a bit. And so that is why, in many ways, the Fed speak. We don't always pay attention to all of the Federal Reserve officials that are speaking, but this week they'll be more important than usual because of the fact that the market doesn't know. The market has no idea, and it's kind of undecided on whether or not the Federal Reserve is going to cut interest rates in December. So all of the Fed speak on the calendar will play a very, very, very big role. So if we just go to the calendar and we just filter to the U.S. just to take a look, as I said, we have a lot of Fed speak. We already had Mirren basically speak over the weekend, I believe. And Stephen Mirren, who is the one dissenter in favor of 50 basis point rate cut, basically said that, you know, gave all the reasons why he's voted in favor of 50 basis points. Now, we want to hear from the ones that we don't know their bias for December. And so that's going to be Daly, Cook, Bauman, who we thought was going to vote for 50 basis points and actually vote for only 25. How does she feel? What does she think? That's happening tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we have Williams, Barr, Hammock, Waller, Paulson, Muslim, and Jefferson. So we're not hearing from Schmidt, who is the one person that voted for no change. But we are going to hear from a lot of Federal Reserve officials this week. And in many ways, and especially tomorrow, I'm going to be really tuning into Bauman's speech. Now, I'm going to be up at 6:35. You may not, but I'm going to be watching the headlines to hear why she did not think that 50 basis points was necessary and that she felt like only 25 was necessary. So that's going to be important. And later on to this morning, we have ISM manufacturing. That's going to be very important tomorrow. We also have JOLTS, and then we have ADP on Wednesday, and we have Challenger job cuts on Thursday. We have ISM services. ISM services is very important because the U.S. is service-based economy. So the employment component of ISM services will give us, usually is a very strong leading indicator for non-farm payrolls. So once again, they listed non-farm payrolls here, but it's not happening. Non-farm payrolls is not happening this Friday. And so the ISM services employment will give us a very, very good sense of the labor market, and Challenger job cuts, and then all this stuff from Federal Reserve officials. And then the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. Market thinks that there's going to be a drop, but how big of a drop? So even though we don't have non-farm payrolls on Friday, I want to say again and again and again, this is still a very big week for data, for U.S. data and U.S. calendar event risk, because there's so much going on, including Fed speeches. And then, of course, you got to keep an eye on any headlines about the U.S. government reopening. Maybe we'll keep an eye on the regional elections to see whether that there's any sort of huge tide change that could put pressure on one side to actually reach a deal on reopening the government. And then, of course, we got to watch the headlines on the Supreme Court on Wednesday and whether or not, they make any kind of statement related to the tariffs and whether they think it's legitimate or whether they've mandated a pause. I do not think that's happening, but you never know. And so there's a lot going on this week for US data that is going to make it incredibly market moving and incredibly important to pay attention to. So I'm going to be watching all of that. Now, in terms of the two other central bank rate decisions that we have the Bank of England and the Reserve Bank of Australia. So I'm going to drop in this this table here. Now, both central banks are not expected to change interest rates. So we're not expected to get interest rate changes from any central bank. And, you know, this is a table. Whenever we have central bank rate decisions, this is a table that shows you how the economy changed from one meeting to another. And you will see that for the UK, there's been both improvement as well as deterioration. We've got improvement in retail sales. We have deterioration, the labor market, the unemployment rate increase, inflation data weakened. But for the most part, you know, it's a push. There's green, there's red. There's no reason for them to change interest rates this month. Now, the Reserve Bank of Australia. Let me pull this one up. The Reserve Bank of Australia is also not expected to change interest rates. Consumer spending was weaker. By the way, for those of you who don't know, they replaced the retail sales index with, they no longer publish retail sales. Australia does not publish retail sales. It is now called the Household Spending Report. So anyway, household spending is weaker. Labor market activity, this is a problem. Even though it says bullish, the unemployment rate jumped. And the previous month was really ugly. So this is just a little bit of an improvement after the previous month, which is why I put it as neutral. Inflation is a problem. I mean, consumer inflation expectations, 4.8%, monthly inflation, 3.5%. For those of you that do not know, central banks, they want inflation close to 2%, period. And the fact that Australia is going up to 3% is really bad. Housing market activity is good. Westpac leading indicators are good. Manufacturing services, composite, all mixed. So they're not expected to change interest rates either. Let's talk a little bit about seasonality, because I think that seasonality is very important. So seasonality there's a very key seasonal factor in the month of November. So let's pull up seasonality. You can get this on, sorry, it's not a symbol, it's an indicator. Seasonality. All right. Now, take it for what it's worth, but, you know, seasonal trends are important in the sense that they help you lean one way or the other, maybe overweight one side or the other. Sorry, I want to get rid of my moving averages, and I got rid of seasonality as well. And look at this. In November is expected. November is normally a very good month for stocks. In fact, you could argue November is normally, in the past 10 years, the best month ever for the Dow. The Dow has its best month ever in November. But, you know, we're at record highs. And October, we rose instead of fell, although September...
There's always a first time for seasonality to fail, and I think this is going to be it.
Yeah, I mean, that, of course, you got to pay attention to it. And this could be the month where seasonality fails, but seasonality is on the side of stocks being sustained. Now, what could cause, let's think about it. What could cause stocks to be sustained? You know, there's a few things. Number one, U.S. government reopens. Number two, we get good data, which is unlikely. But what is likely? It's Supreme Court says tariffs are not legal. So number 1 and 3 are two very big reasons, two realistic reasons that if they happen could send stocks to new record highs and keep them sustained into November. Now, one is possible. I think there's a very good chance the U.S. government will reopen, but that in of itself, I don't think is enough of an oomph. It's really going to be 3, which is unlikely. But you never know. And then, of course, there's maybe a lot of dovish Fed speak, which is possible. So these are the things that could keep the party going. And with no official government data, you know, to tell us that inflation is softening or the U.S. labor market is weakening, the party could keep going. But of course, you know, there's a lot of red flags. The fact that gold is up and the dollar is up today is a red flag. Let's see about gold. Is there a seasonality in gold? Gold, not really. I mean, it's basically just a skimming. This looks like it's 5 for 5. Maybe like it's 6 for 5. So there's no seasonality in gold in the month of November. Gold, obviously down from its recent highs. Many of you asking where gold is traded. We roll into our live trading session pretty soon, but you can see we broke down to the downside. We're retracing, testing the previous high levels over here. You can draw it from the highs here. We're rejecting this trend line resistance. To me right now, it still looks like gold wants to fall. We need to get above this 4,100 in order to recapture the uptrend. But right now, it looks like gold has seen, a bit more, could see a deeper correction to the downside, and could easily get to maybe 3,800, for example. Let's look at currencies. Is there seasonality? Not really. November, no real seasonality in your euro dollar, and dollar yen, no real seasonality either. So look at this. October tends to be a really good month for dollar yen, and it continued. It actually was one of the best months for dollar yen last month. Now, of course, seasonality doesn't always hold, but euro dollar October was really bad as well. So taking stock of this, there's no seasonality in Forex. There's no seasonality in gold. The only seasonality is in U.S. stocks. So that's the only one. So what does this tell you? As Boris said, take it for what it's worth. This could be the month where the seasonality is. This could be this month. This could be 3.73%. But as a trader, we know that seasonality is on the side of stocks. So, if we get a buy signal, maybe, we lean into it a little bit more. If we get a sell signal, maybe we don't. But, with stocks at record highs, I am a little skeptical of it continuing to move higher. But I think it's important to be aware of the seasonality when there is a trend as strong as this one. I mean, if it was half and half, I wouldn't show you. But if it's like July, 9 out of 10 months, I got to show you this. It's actually July's 10 out of 10. I got to show you, make you aware, make you prepared, because that's my job, to make you prepared for the trading week and the trading month. And November is historically a very, very good month for stocks. And I think it's very important to realize that. All right. So Kathy's heat map. I'm bullish dollars this week. I think that we may have a bit more recovery. I think that, from the Fed, what came out of the Fed, that should boost stocks. But, we got to be careful. It's kind of like bullish neutral. I am bearish euros, though. I think that, we're seeing a lot of weakness in the Eurozone economy. Data is beginning to soften, so I'm a little leery of that. I'm neutral sterling. Bank of England expected to leave interest rates unchanged. Pound has been very weak. I think it's a good cause for stabilization. Aussie, RBA also expected to keep interest rates unchanged. Now, the question is, will they leave the door open for additional easing? Taking a look at the table, there's a lot more improvements than deterioration. Canadian dollar, it's a big week for Canada. We have IVPMI, we have jobs reports, both of which are very, very important. We have New Zealand dollar. There's no data from New Zealand, so that's not really going to matter at all. Kiwi will be a really good dollar, currency to trade versus the US dollar, depending upon how the US dollar developments are. Yen, I'm neutral, but I think the yen will probably remain under pressure. Swiss franc, I'm bullish, because I think there could be a little bit of a correction, but we'll have to see. Now, let's take a look at just the calendar quickly before we go to the charts. By the way, Boris, if you want to pop up, our partner prop firms and brokers are offering some really good deals that end soon. Do you have that banner by any chance while I'm talking?
I do. You're not in the right configuration to do this. If you're
okay, so we'll show it in a minute. But in terms of the data, we already had some data come out. First, remember, it was daylight savings this past weekend in the U.S. So we've got, so for those of you that are outside the U.S., remember, we've got a lot of that your time for U.S. data has shifted. So we had Australian data that was kind of mixed. Building approvals were up a lot. Household spending, which is their new retail sales report, was down. Job advertisements improved. PMIs were upgraded in the Eurozone, but still below 50, so no one likes that. We have ISM services later on today. BOC Governor Macklem speaking. That's going to be interesting. RBA meeting tonight. That's the Reserve Bank of Australia rate decision. So BK traders were not going to be trading the Australian dollar tonight. And interest rates are expected to remain unchanged. Tomorrow, we have bunch of Fed speak. No major U.S. data tomorrow. And then on Wednesday is when we get actually, no, tomorrow we do have the JOLTS report. I don't know why it's not on their calendar. But on Wednesday, we have ADP, we have ISM services. That's going to be important. We also have German industrial production numbers, U.S. Retail sales. We do have German factory orders and U.S. and German industrial production. Those are very important reports for the Eurozone this week. We have the Bank of England's rate decision on Thursday. We have challenger job cuts, IVPMI. Those are all very important. And then on Friday, we'll get the Canadian Employment Report and the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. So all of that is the market numbers that we're going to be watching. So now let's take a look at the charts. So let's remove our seasonality, the drawing, the indicator. Let's bring in our moving averages. And you can see, first off, stocks are consolidating near the highs. And the fact that stocks are consolidating near their highs tells you that the market is hesitating, and there's definitely some hesitation that's happening in the markets. Traders are nervous, and we'll have to see whether or not this continues, but this is not a good sign for risk appetite. Taking a look at gold, gold has pulled back. I already talked about how I think it's pulled back, rebounded, and it's rejected its the previous breakout zone. So I think that unless it recaptures 40,060 or definitely 4,100, I think we could see more losses to the downside. Eurodollar, the weakest level we've seen Eurodollar basically since August. So it's continuing to trend lower. The trend is your friend. Do not fade it until it changes. This is off of US dollar strength. So right now it does look like it wants to continue to move lower. Let's bring in our fibs to see if there's any significant fib levels around where we are. And there is, but we're breaking below it. 23.6% fib. We're starting to break below that, which is a bearish sign for Eurodollar. On a shorter term basis, we've got a little bit of 78.6% fib at 115, big round number. It'll probably bounce off of that today, but I think, there's definitely more downside to euro. Dollar yen, dollar yen, upper right-hand corner of the chart, 155, the next reasonable resistance level. Looks like it wants to get there. Dollar CAD, also quite strong. Looks like it wants to move up. We're going to roll into live trading with Boris in just a minute, but I'm just showing you these charts. So you can see that, we've got resistance up at 140.80. Pound dollar moving lower ahead of BoE, below all of the major moving averages. This is where fibs also become very important. Let's see where we are fib-wise. Fib-wise, we've got, we're right underneath support. We're right underneath support. We've broken this level here. It looks like it could move lower. Pound definitely looks more bearish than anything else. Kiwi, lower right-hand corner of the chart, also looks like it could move lower. And from this perspective, we've got some support here at 56.82, but this is the congestion zone here between 5,500 and 5,600. Big week for the RBA. Aussie is consolidating as a result. Looks like wants to move lower, but it's definitely not as weak as the other major currencies. You can see that there's a very clear trend line somewhere around here. I would draw it because there's some spikes here. So I think, the RBA rate decision tonight is going to decide whether it tests it or breaks it. And then dollar Swiss moving upwards. I like dollar Swiss a lot to the upside. I think it could come in this region here at 82 and 82.50. All right, Boris, do you want to pop on, change the frame and pop on? I did want to share with you, we get a lot of questions about who you should trade with. So if you want to pop on the screen showing it.
Yeah, but I have to take you off. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Do that. Here, there you go.
Okay. All right, hold on a second. So we have two of our K's, just a little bit covered. We have two partners. We have Think Capital, and I have some really interesting news for those of you guys who are trading CFDs. I'm going to demonstrate to you the new one-click trader that I created over the weekend. It's going to allow you to trade super easily on MT5 and MT4. Beautiful, beautiful one-click buttons to control all the risk. And those of you who are going to sign up for Think Markets, Think Capital actually, just simply email me back, tell me that, hey, you signed up, show me a screenshot. I'll send you that particular piece of software. You guys will really, really enjoy it. So that's very, very cool. And then we have another piece of news today from our perimeter partner, Apex Trading. They have two things that are going on today. they are back to 70% discount. But for the first time ever, they've lowered their lifetime activation fees to just $40. So it's become extremely cheap. I think if you sort of put it all together, it's cost you $70 to actually run a funded account. If you
Yeah, but go back to Think Capital. We have a lot of Americans that, and maybe you want to get rid of the left side because it's 85% off, so it's really confusing, Boris. But for Think Capital, we get a lot of people.
85% off is for Pass the Prop. It's completely different.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But anyway, for Think Capital, many of you ask who if you're American, is there a Forex or CFD prop that you recommend? And Think Capital is a broker-backed prop firm out of Australia. They are provided by Think Markets, which is one of the largest brokers in Australia, and they offer not only a prop for U.S. traders, but they also allow you to trade directly from TradingView. And they have a lot of cool tools. I've shown you a lot of tools on their Traders Gym, their economic data impact. So it's really, really great stuff. And they're doing a special thing, Halloween offer that ends this week. And so use that QR code. I'll drop in the link later, and you'll save.
I have the link. I can put the link in. The link is just going to say 25, but it's actually 30. So it's a better deal than.
So check them out. This offer is going to end at the end of the week, and so you can start trading CFD Forex prop for, I think it was like $27.30 with their 30% off offer. So make sure you use that. So click on that link that Boris provided, or flash your screen the QR code, and check out our sponsors. Otherwise, Boris is going to roll into live trading and kick it off with you guys. Any questions for me in the meantime? If not, have fun with Boris and make some money.
Okay, awesome. All right, hi guys. Let me just arrange everything. Give me a sec. We got to just change everything around a little bit here to. Okay. You guys should be able to see me much better. We have the whole screen. Hang on a sec. Let me do a couple of things. So first of all, those of you guys, let me see if you guys don't see anything. Okay, here we go. You guys see my screen? Yeah, I think so. No, I just took it away. Why is it not working? Okay, now it's working. Okay. Pass the Prop. I just wanted to kind of let everybody know what's going on with Pass the Prop before we even start. Pass the Prop is something that I do every single day, every single week, Thursday, 7 p.m. The link doesn't work, Chris says. The Think Capital link doesn't work. You know what? Because I know why it doesn't work. I'm sorry. Hang on a second. Let me fix that link. It needs a space. It needs a space. Just hang a second, guys. Let me organize. Yeah, the problem is it just needs. I know exactly. Hang on. All right. It just needs a space here. Okay. All right. Hang on. Let me just try this one more time. All right. Try this link. Shit. I think. I hope it works. Let me see. Nope. Doesn't work. Okay. I'm sorry. Shit. One more time. Let's try this one more time. It's the spacing. You should, by the way, the QR code for sure works. I know the QR code works for sure. So if you use the QR code, but let me just test this out one more time. No. Huh. I don't know why this link doesn't work. I'm sorry about that. The QR code for sure works. Okay. And I'll try to post a new link. I'll tell Kathy to post a new link. For some reason the link isn't working. That is weird. That is just weird why that link doesn't work. All right, I'll tell Kathy to post the link, and I'll post it in the next few days. Don't worry about it. If you just go to Think Capital by itself and just use the BK save code, you'll be fine. You'll definitely be okay. All right, so we're ready to have a good time. I want to play a little bit of music just to get us started a little bit, and then I got to show you all the cool stuff I did over the weekend that I think you guys are gonna absolutely love. Let me do this. I'll tell you about the caution signs, Claudia. Yes.
Dots on the screen like disco lights, flicker and shine in the heat of the night.
Hear a little music.
I got the moves, I got the groove. Trade the dots and watch me improve. Yeah.
I'm a self-signal in gold.
Hit the spots, fund the prop, make it pop. Money, money, money. Oh, it's hot. Trade the dots.
And self-signal on NASDAQ too. We're going to take them both. Do a little trading and then I'll explain everything that we do.
It's a funky deal. Risk is a dance, it's a balancing act, but I'm moonwalking on this market track. Yeah.
All right, sell gold. We're going to sell. Ready? All right, now watch this. 24-1. On gold, we're going to offer at 26-1.
Shake it, scream and shout. Pockets fat, but I'm staying lean. I'm the king of the trading scene.
We're done on the gold. The gold trade already got done. On NASDAQ, we sold at 12.50. I want to sell at 22.50. Oh, we already did that.
Dots on the screen like disco lights, flicker and shine in the heat of the night.
12.50, 22.50,
Trade the dots and watch me improve.
50,
Yeah.
22.50.
Trade the dots. Hit the spots. Fund the prop. Make it pop. Money, money, money. Oh, it's hot. Trade the dots. Yeah. Trade the dots. Spin that chart like a DJ wheel. Up and down, it's a funky deal. Risk is a dance, it's a balancing act, but I'm moonwalking on this market track.
Stopped out on NAS. We're going to go right back the other way. This now went from a sell signal to a buy signal. Oh, it's 9:30. This was never traded to NAS. It's 9:30 on the open. I forgot that K always takes me into the. I forgot that K always takes me into the open, and I forgot that we're trading open. All right, fine. That was a tiny little clip on NASDAQ that got heard on basically on the open, but we're gonna trade this to the upside if this candle holds. Then I'm gonna explain to you everything I did over the weekend to get you guys going. $1.06 on the clock. We're definitely going to go long on this one. 54 seconds. Claudia, Gloria, you want to turn off the warning signs? You're going to go into volatility settings over here. I'll go through all of this stuff and just set suggested volatility candle multiplier stop to like 3, and then they'll all go away if you don't want to see them. But they have a meaning that a lot of people are going to find very valuable. All right. This is still going to, if it sticks a buy, we're still going to go long on this thing. 14, 13. Three, 2, 1. Boom. All right, long this. Target is 51. Target should be 61. Oh, man, I'm having a hard time with this thing today. 61. All right, and a buy back at 41 if I need it. Move my secondary stop to my first stop, so tighter stop, and let's see how this plays. Indicator is updated. If you have TradingView, all you got to do is just delete and re-delete it. It's called dots only max. It's a new updated indicator. All right, that got done. So we come back off the this. I'm going to get rid of this trade. I'm going to start looking for new trades as they come in. Let's go back to getting setups explained. So we got a few seconds. I'm going to show you the new version of the indicator and what it does, how I configured it myself personally, and then how you yourself can configure it. If you don't like these yellow warning candles, these warning signs are basically telling you it's a big candle, right? Just be mindful that it's a big candle. Now, what determines a big candle? Actually, very dynamic settings. What's very, very cool is if I go into the indicator and show you the table, which is the information table, which I took off the chart because I don't want to see it all day long. But if you look at the information table over here right now, right, it tells you everything that's going on in the volatility of the instrument. So the most important thing that it tells you is the last 10 bars, NASDAQ is averaging 14 points. That's the range, 14 points. If it's a 14-point range, then you're pretty comfortable trading a 10-point target. Now, this gives you suggested stops, suggested targets. All of those are configured by you yourself personally. I'll show you where you can configure them. You can suggest a stop at 2 times risk. You can suggest a stop at 1 times risk. All of that is totally configurable. This is just to give you an idea of some of the possibilities of how you want to trade the structure. I'm going to show you how I trade. I basically traded with a fixed stop, fixed target that's within the reasonable limits of these volatility, right? Now, the little warning sign basically is a multiplier of how much size you want to give. In my particular situation, I think I gave it a 1.5 times of range, right? So if the candle is 31 points, right? If it's 31 points or more, it's going to put out a little warning sign. It's telling you basically this candle is so large that over the last 10 bars, it's an extraordinarily big move. So that means you're obviously always going to be expending a lot more risk than you should given the range structure. Or if you're willing to take that risk, you're going to be subject to retrace risk. In other words, you could get stopped out before the candle tops out or bottoms out. So this just simply gives you an instant idea of like, oh, this candle is going to, if you're going to put a stop on this candle, you probably could get stopped out on a retrace if you're not willing to take it. So all of these changes, yes, all of these changes are going to come up in wealth charts. I sent the final code to Rob. It should be within 2 or 3 days. wealth chart is going to look exactly like this. Right now, I'm trading TradingView with you guys specifically because it's much easier to kind of follow all these changes on TradingView right now. But as soon as we get to wealth charts, we're going to be trading wealth charts just as easily. So that's the basic idea. There's a whole environment of volatility that you yourself can set up any way you like. Now, my personal volatility settings, if you guys are interested, is just like, and I basically, and I wrote, and by the way, I made a whole video of this in BFF trading course, the new trading course. You can watch all of it. It's all in the video. The suggested stop multiplier for me, like in terms of the range, is 1.5 times the range. I'm looking for just 3x, 1/3 for my target, and my volatility candle is 1.5 times the range, right? 1.2 times the range, right? So you can make it bigger. So Gloria, if you don't want to see any of these things, I think the reason is because you had it set probably at 1. If you want to set it at 2 times range, and then you really don't see it at all, you can say this, and a lot of them will disappear, right? So only like the super big ones will come in if you want to use the settings, right? My settings are not the default settings, no, because there's no such thing as default settings, because those are just personal suggested settings for you. All right, another sell signal. Let's we got lots of you can do all you want about settings, but let's do trades, because we're here to do trades. Let me get rid of the table. I don't keep a table on the charts because I don't really need it, but of course you guys can find it useful. Okay, I got to sell in NASDAQ. 8 seconds left. This is clearly going to be a 10:30 trade. So now here's the technique that you really want to follow. The close here is 190. That means I want to make sure that my entry is exactly at 190. My entry is actually a little bit better, and I want to sell at 200 secondary position. And if the secondary position gets hit, I'm going to move my stop to the secondary target to give myself a much higher probability of success if my secondary position gets hit. Right now, I'm targeting 10 points on this volatility drop. Let's see if I can get it on NASDAQ. My target is like 180, and it's super close, but no cigar just yet. There we go. And that's done. That means my secondary entry is unnecessary, and I get rid of it. This is the technique I use literally every 10 minutes, in, out, in, out, in, out. You can do a million different variations on this, which we'll talk about in coaching in much more detail. But for scalping purposes, this really suits me well. All I'm doing is I'm waiting for the Christmas tree to set up. Once it sets up, I'm trading market entry on the first entry. Whatever is my target profit, let's say on NASDAQ my target profit is 10, then my secondary entry is minus 10. If my target profit on gold is 2, then my secondary entry is minus 2 to the entry. If the secondary entry gets hit, I move all my take profits to the secondary target. So I go from plus 10 to plus 0 because the secondary becomes plus 10, the other one becomes even. And I move my stops from minus 30 points to minus 20 points to make sure that I don't have a too large a stop condition on the thing. So anyways, that's what I that's what I do, that's what I use. And as you can see, if you're trading both gold and NASDAQ, you're literally running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 trades in an hour. We already did 3 trades, before the market even kind of opened today. We'll see how many more opportunities we have. So that's the primary structure of how I want to trade these positions. But there's a couple of other secondary entries that I kind of like. By the way, sorry. So I'm going to, Gloria, I'm going to standardize on the volatility numbers for gold as well here. So I'm going to go for gold and standardize for my max volatility is going to be, let's say, 1.5 of stop. That's kind of like, I think, a decent You know what? Honestly, I really like 1-2. If you don't like seeing warning signals, don't see them. I like them not because I get scared of them, but because they just give me a little more color of, hey, this is a relatively big volatility is there. I think I'm going to just keep it at 1.2 volatility, because that's what I like as my structure. So this is 1-2. I'm going to do the same thing on NASDAQ. Keep that at 1-2 on the volatility structure. Information table. Here's all the volatility settings. I set it at 2, which is quite a lot. I'm going to put it at 1-2. Okay, these are not too bad, and these are very reasonable. This tells you, yeah, for sure, this is a big volatility candle, man. You should be mindful of it. It's a matter of just being mindful. I'm just mindful of the volatility that comes my way, and that's what that's what I'm basically trading. Okay, hang on a second, guys. I gotta. I got to change. Okay, so that's my bread and butter setup. But there's a couple of other setups you can do that I think are very reasonable. They can also give you additional trades. The most common setup that I really, really like after the Christmas tree is by far the most accurate. I ran this Friday. It was 10 wins, 1 loss. It's basically been like, 7, 8 wins, 1 loss today. If you're doing it properly, if you're doing it the way I do it. Now it's going to be, if you're doing a single entry, single exit, it's going to be less. You'll also have you're going to be -3 instead of -5 on the risk reward spectrum. So it all depends on how you want to run your risk rewards. It all depends on how you want to do this, and we'll talk about that in coaching in much greater detail. In live, I just want to display to you all of the various trades so you guys can actually see how the whole thing is put to place. Because in live, the single most important thing that I realized is technique. It's really about technique. And if you have the good technique, it will, save you it will save you a lot of profit, because you'll be able to get out of, some tricky situations with profit. And if you have bad technique, you'll butcher even the good trades badly. Like everything else in life, it's a matter of analysis and timing. Timing is a function of technique, and you got to practice your technique. So just to slowly spell out my technique, I'm entering always market on the first trade. That means inevitably my first trade, rarely is my first trade better than the close of the candle on the buy side, or better than the close on the candle on the sell side, which means I need to make an adjustment on my take profit off of the close of the candle, not off my own personal entry. My entry could be maybe even 5 ticks off. So instead of looking for plus 20 points, I have to be looking for plus 15 points, and be thankful for that, because it's not about what you want. It's about how you do your technique within what the market gives you. Okay. And if you press yourself for essentially, I want 20 points for my entry, what you're basically saying is that you want the market to give you 25 points, and the strategy is optimized for 20 points. So sometimes it'll do that, but a lot of times it'll miss, and a miss is very expensive. So the whole idea is to get it done. And because I'm always pivoting off of the actual closing price of the candle, not of what I got my execution on, very often I'm going to get a little bit inferior P&Ls. I'm not going to get the full 20 points. I'm not going to get the full 20-point resolution, but I will get the accuracy, and that's the key thing. All right, gold, setting up here. You know what? Let's change. I want to change accounts. We had this account did well. Let's do it in this account. Let's go to 29 account. We got 38 seconds on gold. Buy signal. You see, super easy with the new version, just telling you, hey, there's a buy signal here, right? There's a sell signal. All you got to do is just simply wait for the candle to close, enter market, going to come in market, and then I'm going to enter 2 down off market as my secondary backup trade if once I'm in. Then we just let the whole trade operate. All right, I'm in market. Let's see what the close on the candle is. Candle closes 27.6, which means I got to buy 25.6. right over here, and move my stop over here, and 29.6, not 29.8, 29.6 as my target, because I can't have a perfect target. I'm pivoting off the close of the candle, not off my own execution, which was only off for literally by just one tick, right? So here's 29.6. That's my target. Let's see if we can scalp that out. Buck 8 on the clock. And that's done. That means my secondary entry is unneeded. So I'm going to delete it and I'm gone. So that trade gets done. And we just, this is the third or the fourth winning trade that we did in the last 15, 20 minutes. And that's the idea. The idea is, try and do two trades every half an hour, 4 trades in an hour. That's how you get frequency. That's how you get good technique. I'm always initiating trade on trade of 8. I think TradingView is for amateurs. TradingView is beautiful for charts. But if you want execution, you want stops and targets instantaneously, you want to be a professional, you trade on trade of 8, okay? You can disagree with me on that. It's your choice, but this is what I believe. Just like, wealth charts is very good because it has both the speed and the charts integrated into it. And as soon as I get the full update, we're going to go to wealth charts and trade that. But I think fucking trading on trade of 8 is really for amateurs. Now it's fine if you're a new trader and it's super easy for you and you like the beautiful pretty buttons. It's fine. But that the kind of trading that I do, where it takes a minute, 2 minutes to resolve, you're just gonna get your head handed to you. So there are a lot of Christmas tree trades over the last couple of days. There's just not really a absence of opportunities. There's lots of opportunities. If you look at gold, for example, in the last hour, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities. Only which one was this? Only this one did not work. This was the only opportunity that didn't work. If you look at NASDAQ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities. Only this one doesn't work. And by the way, the reason this one got clipped and the other one now got clipped was the Amazon. This was a news bomb. So news bombs happen, and you eat the news bomb. So it's not not even I would say a structural issue today. It could have been like 5 in a row of total winning trades, right? But if you want more, can you as well check out the Think Markets link to TradingView compared? I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't understand what that question means, Andy. What does that mean? Why don't you explain that, and I'm happy to indicate it. So if you want to trade more, besides Christmas tree labels, which are really, really high probability, really good the way I trade them, but you want more opportunities. My suggestion in terms of order of accuracy is this, like right now coming up, although it's really not the trade. Can't really take this trade. I'm jumping the gun. The first pull away trade in trend slice, it would have been this one, which very often is a Christmas tree trade anyways. So it's not like you don't take it. But the first pull away candle trade in the start of a slice almost always leads to continuation, almost always leads to extension and continuation, right? So you generally, the thing is that almost always it's also a Christmas tree trade, right? There's rarely a time when you don't have a Christmas tree. Maybe over here you have a little bit just in a low volatility environment. Maybe over here you're a little bit early. So here you would be a little bit early. Here's a pull away trade. You start over here before even the Christmas tree trade, and you could have taken that. So you do have some opportunities. Here's another one that's actually post Christmas tree. If you look at NASDAQ over here, you take this trade, you made money, and then this a pull away trade, and you can try and trade that for continuity. The idea is pull away trades create continuity. Now, in this particular case, you're looking at over here, you probably could have taken this because you sort of had a pause. You could make this elegant argument that, hey, the market, this isn't, we had a sort of a pause, and therefore it's kind of a new trend slice opportunity. And here's a pull away trade. The pull away trade, for those of you who are new, who aren't aware of its incredible power, is the ultra momentum trade. It's a trade that shows you that it's so powerful to the downside, it doesn't even touch the moving average, and it closes at all the lows. So it pulls away to its lowest point or pulls away to its highest point. It's like rocket fuel to the next candle. The first pull away trade within trend is usually the fuel for the next 3 or 4 candles. That's why it's that. Think Capital does connect to TradingView, correct? I'm sorry. So what's the point? I'm trading Trade-Evate TradingView futures, not CFDs. If you're trading CFDs, you're absolutely possible to trade on TradingView because CFDs are not speed instruments, but futures are high-speed instruments. So that's why I'm trading Trade-Evate. Again, I don't know why there's so much confusion. This is just what I do. You don't have to do what I do. I'm just telling you, people are asking me, why do you, am I trading on Trade-Evate when I'm trading futures? The answer is fuck yes, okay? Unambiguous fuck yes. I hope that's clear to everybody. Okay, so William, let me finish my dots thing, and then I'll get to your question. So that's trade number 2. Pull away candle, rocket fuel, go crazy if you want to, all right? The third trade is actually one I got into a lot of trouble today because it kind of I thought it kind of fakes you out a lot, but on Friday it was working really, really well. And that is like a version of a retrace trade, right? Let me kind of explain it. Let me set this up for you on the charts and show you what I would call a version of a retrace trade. So, okay. You have a green trend over here, right? This is gold, right? Gold is, establishing a green trend. You have a purple dot. Purple dot is a sell-off dot, right? Sell-off dot. Now, we used to always argue, well, you would buy this because you take a gamble that this was a really, really good value proposition because you're in uptrend, the slope is green. This is just kind of a short-term sell-off. You have great value proposition. And the answer is a lot of times that's actually probably a really, really good trade, right? But I was like, you know what? No, I want more confirmation that this actually resumes the uptrend. So I was like, let's trade purple dot, white dot on the upside, or a white dot, red dot on the downside. Okay? The thing is about that, yes, this worked over here, but a couple of times it kind of really just, got me buzzed into a thing. Here's a, no purple dots. Here's a purple dot, white dot over here, but this is already off the sell signal, so not really a good idea. You need something like in between where you had it. I'm just trying to find a good version of this on the other side. All right, so here's where I got into trouble. White dot, right? And I wait. If you actually sold, well, you didn't have to sell this because the slope is positive. You want a white dot off. Okay, here's a good example. White dot off a red slope. You would have sold this. This was probably could have worked for you. But my idea was like white dot, purple dot, and you sell it over here, and you probably came in a little bit of a better entry. Anyways, as I said to you, I don't love the retrace trade, but it's an interesting idea for those of you guys that want to trade this, that you can kind of use the dots one way or the other in terms of its location. Okay. Now, unfortunately, we have such strong trends that we have no signals whatsoever. So you just have to be very, very patient and and see what's going on. Yeah. So William, that's sort of what I was referring to. You could give that a try. You could give it a try. I wait for the dot, not for the candle itself, but for the dot, because I want the confirmation that we have momentum going. The dot is a confirmation of momentum. So you sell off and upside momentum resumes, let's go trade it. That's sort of my idea. But it's a much weaker trade. It's honestly, it's super easy to trade momentum because momentum is just there. It works all the time. Retrace is kind of like retrace. It's either going to be a great value or you're going to get shafted because it's a change of trend. Retrace basically is always, two meanings hidden inside that trade. It's either just a quick bottom or a top, and you resume the trend, or it's a start of a new vicious trend to the downside, and you get completely flushed to the downside. So that's why there are people who trade retrace very well. Santiago does that. It's just not my cup of tea. You got to know what you want to trade. I like trading the momentum side because it's very, very clear. I'm going up, I'm going to continue. I'm going down, I'm going to continue. I want to trade that as hard as possible whenever I get the opportunity. That's basically it, right? So, as I said, there's a whole bunch of changes in the new indicator, all of it just designed to make it as easy as possible for you to pick the most incredible things. Is there a 50, 85? Okay, no, the 85% discount is on past the prop. Why is this? Is it not clear that 85% off past the prop is what I'm talking about? I thought my banner was pretty freaking clear. What is unclear about what I have on the banner? Let me know if it's clear or unclear, because I'll change the banner. Okay. So those of you guys who are trading think markets, right? You guys are asking me a lot about the think markets stuff. Let's talk about what I can do for you for think markets. I want to show you, since there's no trade setups right now, right? I want to show you some really cool stuff I did on MetaTrader 5. For those of you that are trading MetaTrader 5, hang tight. Let me just see if I can do this. And hang on, I'm going to change my stop screen, share screen. Bear with me a sec, guys. Okay, I'm logging into my Windows computer, and I want to show you something very, very cool. First, I'm going to show you the cooler part. This is MetaTrader 4 right now. What do I have here? I think I have gold. Yeah, I have gold on here from our friends from ACAP. And by the way, if you want to open an account with ACAP, I'm happy to give you this tool. Just simply screenshot to me, make a deposit of $1,000 or more, and I'm happy to give you this tool. But here is the MetaTrader 4 tool. That is a scalping tool that you can use on CFDs and Forex and everything else. As you can see, first of all, it shows you bid ask. It shows you the spread. This is a 14 pip spread on gold, right? If you want to buy market, it shows you the stops and targets. So I think this is basically $10 stop, $10 target. I think so. So watch this. I'm going to buy market, right? And no, it's $1. It's $1 stop by $1 market, right? What if I want to close it? I just hit close position and it's done in one single thing. Now, what's really, really cool? What if I wanted to increase the stop to $2? All I got to do is just click on here, and it will just automatically increment by $1 to make it super simple for me to increment my stops and targets. So let's say I want to buy again. I'm going to buy market again, right? And you see how that increments. So what if I wanted to then change my stop loss? Oh, it's too late. It already made money. Okay, I can't even speed it up to make money. Now here's the other cool thing that I want to show you. Okay, I'm going to sell this now, just for argument's sake. I'm going to sell this at market, right? And what if I wanted to add to my position? I wanted to do this in 3 lot size. Now I'm going to sell 3 lots, right? Now I have 2 positions, one at 1 lot, one at 3 lots, right? I sold it. Now I want to close them all. I hit close all, and every position gets closed. Isn't that cool? This is all completely, for you. I could even, if I wanted to get really, really cute, put a limit order to buy at bid, and it's just going to sit there waiting to get hit. And now I bought at bid, right? and then I want to, sell it offer, right? Let me see if I can put the sell it offer. But no, I can't do it. Sell market. Okay, fine. Oh yeah, I did. It just takes a second. It just took a second. And now watch this. I'm going to close all. Close all. Look at how much money I'm making. Close all. Close all. Boom. All of it just super, super fast on the scalping. So this is MetaTrader 4, and the exact same thing on MetaTrader 5. The MetaTrader 5 looks a little different because frankly, MetaTrader 5 doesn't have ironically enough, doesn't have the Windows APIs the MetaTrader 4 has. So MetaTrader 4 looks a little bit cleaner and better, but the same functionality. Everything you can do in 4, buy, sell, buy at bid, sell at ask, your P&L, increase your lots from in increments of 0.1, increase your stops in increments of hundreds, whatever you want. Sell half, move to break even. There's a million different things that you can do here. Like, for example, let me just go buy this right now. Okay, I bought gold, right? Okay, close. And let's say, let me close all positions. Boom, and I'm out. I didn't even know how much. Look at this. I think I made how much money did I make here? Nice, $117. Super fast. So all of this is really cool for you guys to use for think markets or ACAP, for anything that is CFD and Forex related. And obviously you don't have to go so super fast, but what's really, really cool is how easy it is to not just place trades, but manage trades off the whole thing. So I hope you guys like that. I made that over the weekend for everybody, and now they're really, they're in just great shape. You want to get this, you need to do 2 things. You need to make a fresh deposit to ACAP. Send me a screenshot of $1,000 or more. If you put $5,000 or more, I'll give you everything. I'll give you the indicator itself, the tools, all you want. And for think markets, you just need to buy a $100,000 challenge or better, and I'll give you that as well. Just send me a screenshot that you bought it, and I'll be happy to give you the tool set. So hopefully you guys like these. They've been really, really cool, and they're very, very useful. If you get my coaching, I'll give it to you for free. So if anybody who gets my coaching gets all this stuff for free. Okay, so no problem. Let me share my screen again. Let's go back to trading, and let's see what's going on over here. So no signals for us anyways, so it doesn't really matter, but I hope you guys like it. Christmas tree, I always, okay, so Gary's asking, Gary, here's a really cool question, another great technique question, which I want to share with everybody. Because this happens all the time. Let me just get rid of this, because this is bothering me. Okay. By the way, can I get a little love for the MetaTrader 5, MetaTrader 4 tools? I mean, they're pretty cool, no? Look how easy it was for me to make like $200 in front of your eyes without even trying. Untouchable. Any other way to get it, like buying it straight up? You can get as coaching. Untouchable. You want to get coaching? I'll give it to you as coaching. If you get coaching, let me put the link for coaching. I'm happy to give you that way. This is just cheaper the other way because you don't have to spend any money. But if you want to just get a coaching, you can get it that way. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. That was one of those, let me spend half an hour, and I spent 2 days on the weekend doing this, because of course nothing is ever easy or simple when you're coding, but it came out really great. I mean, like now it has just everything. And those of you guys, I'm going to be in Australia. I'm going to be in Melbourne. I'm coming to you guys. We're going to do a webinar with ACAP on macro for 2026. I'm going to show this to you in much greater detail. You guys are going to love it. All the cool things that it can do. So if you're MetaTrader trader, actually, let's do a little poll. How many people trade MetaTrader? Either a 4 or 5, I don't care. Let's just do a poll. I use MetaTrader. use MetaTrader. I don't care if it's 4 or 5 because I have them for both. Just give me a yes or no. Let me know if you guys are playing with this. So what somebody was asking me like what happens, and this happens quite like this is a good example. Like let's take a look at NASDAQ. It's a bad example because it was market open, but during Asia sometimes you get this. What happens if you get a buy signal and you're still in the trade? Like maybe it's going against you, but you're still in the trade because it hasn't hit your stop, and then you get a sell signal on a Christmas tree. What do you do? What do you do? Let me see what you guys would say. What are you supposed to do in that situation? Because I have found the perfect technique to deal with that. Anybody want to suggest what you would do when you have a buy signal? You're not stopped out. Ben gets the candy. No, not depending on trend. Where's Ben? Ben, use a different account. Exactly. Switch accounts. You switch accounts, and that way sometimes you actually win on both. Sometimes you win on a buy and a sell, which is really, really cool. Caution label does not come on and off. Peter, if you want the caution label to just not show up, just go. I didn't realize that people don't want caution. Like, do you not want to be warned of volatility? I thought this was like so useful. Where it says max volatility candle multiplier of stop, make that 10. Make that 10, and you'll never see the caution label again. So you just turn that to 10. Okay. But I actually like my caution tables, caution labels. All right. I guess not everybody has my taste. Okay, so here's a good example. We had ISM come out right at 10 o'clock. Didn't do much. What did ISM show? Let's see. A little weak. Prices were definitely weak. Interesting. So I guess prices being weak is a yeah, prices being weak, I guess, is a little bit more positive for the market. The market is selling off a little bit though. So here was the retrace trade that I talked about, a purple dot and then followed by a white momentum dot. So you could have bought this over here. That would have worked. But again, really not my cup of tea. I don't really like doing it. Right now, I'm only looking for two things: either a Christmas tree label trade, a buy here, a sell here, a trend with counter trend, or some pull away trades. And right now, the markets are kind of quiet. You see, the other cool thing is now everything is so visual that you can see when the markets are dead and there's nothing to do. When there's nothing to do, there are no signals. Yes, there are all these alerts, Tony. All the alerts are every alert that you can possibly, well, the most important alerts that you want are all there. You go add alert and you click over here. These are all the alerts. Candle closes soon. Purple dot alert, white dot alert, white candle, purple candle. This is pull away candle to the white side. Red Christmas tree, green Christmas tree, pause buy alert, pause sell alert. So everything is in there. Just simply configure it. Okay, it's all there. You can do it. So the alerts are all there. So whatever you want to do, you can set that up. But yeah, you get these market periods where you have really quite a lot of Christmas trees, and you get a period where you sort of have long extension of trend, and everything's kind of quiets down. And now you try to wait for the new structure, where the new trend is going to come in, what we're going to be doing. So we'll see. Oh, wow. I know. I'm actually, the cool thing about daylight savings is that we get an extra hour. So I'm just bouncing off the walls here on the thing. Let me see what Kathy. She doesn't see my thing. Sorry. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to. Let me see if I go. We're just gonna go to Think Capital. Yeah. No, jeez. Look at fucking Google trying to fake me out on Think Capital. Fuck you, Google. I hate it when they do that. Okay, so here's their thing. We use BK Save, please, if you want any of the stuff, and then just send me the thing. I don't have the I'm gonna make a new Bitly here, or just a new. Hang on, I'm gonna make a new link for everybody so that, because this is annoying me that I couldn't do this. All right, this one should hopefully work, guys, for Think Capital. And of course, if you guys are trading Apex, Apex is like 70% off now, back to 70% off, which is great, good deals. But what's really, really wild about Apex, which I absolutely was shocked. They never do this, and that is such a cool thing, is $40 lifetimes. If you want to pass a couple of things, it's actually, I'm going to buy some and I'm going to pass. I don't know how long they're going to last, because the all-in purchase price, I think it's like $70. Imagine having a funded account for just $70, a $50,000 funded account. I'm going to get a couple of more, actually. I just talked myself into it, because that's it. I've never seen them do such a good deal. Okay, I got to buy signal in NASDAQ. 34 seconds left. You can see it nice and clean, right? Let's do it in what my account, 29 account? Yeah, let's do it in the 29 account. Let me see if I'm in the 29 account so you guys can see yourselves. I'm in 29, okay. So I'm just trying not to hop too much, and again, what's the technique? I'm coming in market, and then I'm gonna come in limit. If the first thing it's gotta do is it's gotta hold the label. It's gotta hold the bid to make sure that the trade is legit. 3, 2, 1. All right. I'm long the trade. Let's see what the actual execution price is. 38.50. I think I'm in at 38.50. I'm actually at the execution price, which means that now I'm buying 28.50 as my secondary entry, and that's it. And then I'm just chilling. I'll move my ticks over here behind it, and let's see what we can do. It went up, but not quite there. Okay, secondary trade hit. I'm moving my stop back to first entry for hopefully quiet resolution if it resolves, or if this is a reversal, it's a reversal. Now, the other thing about this trade, of course, as you're looking at it, is this is a buy against trend, right? The trend is negative. So if you don't like to buy counter trend trades, like right now, I might get stuffed on this. I'm getting stuffed on this, unfortunately. Okay, this is not going to work. This totally reversed on me. It actually went all the way up to like 7 points to 8 points to target, and then completely reversed on me the other way around, which, that happens. But the other aspect about this is, of course, this is not with the big trend. It's a counter trend trade. So again, you may not decide to choose this. Oh, and look at this. While I was looking at NASDAQ, I totally missed a buy trade. This was a clean buy trade. It's already done. It's already done. There's no use crying over spilt milk, because this thing popped. I guess, was there some news? This looks like it's kind of a news clip thing. because this already went 39 to 43. I'm not chasing it, so we just have to leave it alone and see how it goes. So yeah, this that just did not happen. Yeah, it goes away on Wednesday, right? So they don't give you a lot of time to do this. Okay, so now I get a reversal signal in Nasdaq, right? We get a reversal signal in Nasdaq. Let's see what it wants to do. Let's see if it holds, because the general trend is to the downside. Nasdaq kind of reversed to the downside, right? They sold off. Markets kind of had a last gasp to the upside. Is this going to be a decent trade to the downside? I think so. I gotta wait. I got a minute 15 seconds to go before I could even consider the trade, but I like the setup. Let's see if we can go the other way. SSX, the coaching link has been put up here. I'm sorry. What coaching link are you looking for? You're looking to buy the coaching? Here's the link to buy the coaching. If you already bought the coaching, you're on the list. And if you have any issues, just email me, as always. Okay. If you want customer support, don't do it through chat on YouTube when I'm trading. Here's number one rule to help everybody succeed. Email me. See this sell signal almost going away, right? This looks really, really good. Now we have to be very, very patient, because this trade could just generally go away. Maybe it still stays. Let's see. It still stays. Okay. I was short this, and let's see where we need to go. We are the close on this is Nasdaq moves so fast though. It's 99.75, and I got 109.75. Oh shit! This went so fast against me. Ah, damn it! See, all right, we're just gonna have to. Nasdaq is so fast. It doesn't matter. Okay, I got it on the first time. It did. As my suspicion was, this was a good sell, and this trade worked really, really nicely. So this trade went so fast, entry, retrace, boom, that I didn't even get a chance to do the retrace, but it dropped like a stone on a second move to the downside. So I just made my first entry. Nasdaq, is a super, super fast instrument. It's funny. Gold now is kind of getting back to being slow, and Nasdaq is becoming the prime instrument. So we're probably going to go switch to Nasdaq on the thing. You sent an email, and there was no response. That doesn't sound like. Huh. Send it to me right now. Send it to me right now, or just reply the email. I wonder. I'm trying to understand. Maybe your email getting lost, because it's very unusual that I would have missed it. William, the commissions are included in every single trade you make. Don't worry about the commissions. Every single trade you see is a net P&L. So it doesn't really matter. Send it again, and I will look right now. And maybe I responded to you, and maybe you have a lot of times what happens, people are complaining, is that you put us on a do not disturb list. Like, you block our email address, and then you're asking me for questions, and then you're not getting them. So I think maybe you were the one. I think you were the one that had that problem. You're the one. So if you put me on a do not disturb list, don't be upset that that you're not getting my emails or responses. So I think you were that problem. No? Oh, that was Jerry. Jerry was, sorry. Okay. One of you fucked it up. Jerry takes the bullet for you, SSX. All right, but I fixed it for you, Jerry. Now you're good. So I don't know. Like, just send it to me. Send it to me again. I'll make sure that that I get it. Yeah, Jerry, you the man. You're the man. You're taking responsibility. Okay, so this was one of those situations, by the way, where super fast NASDAQ, where you didn't have a chance to go one account, another account. You basically got, the account reversed on me and went the other way around, and I just simply went the other way with it. So yes, momentum will reverse. Momentum sometimes, will stop you out. And the thing about it is not to cry, but to take the other trade, because the other trade is going to make back, what it is that you got clipped on, and just focus on, more quality signals to go. The only thing that was frustrating is that we missed the gold signal right over here, which was a nice big pop, because we're so focused on NASDAQ. And sometimes you get two of them at the same time. That's just the nature of the beast. You're not going to be able to trade them both. But regardless, you're talking about doing 4 trades an hour. That could be as many as 40 trades in a 10-hour cycle period, or just 10, 20 trades coming up at you. Okay, here's what's happening that's kind of interesting. Looking at gold, right? Remember I said to you, my second most favorite setup is the pull away trade. Now, what happened is gold kind of teased me over here with a purple candle, which would have been a pull away trade in an upside. Granted, it's an upside trend, but it's kind of interesting that there was like selling momentum to the downside. But now that already went away. Okay, so why is this a good clean trade? You see this says buy. This is programmed to trigger a buy when you get a white dot green sequence, right? White dot green sequence, always programmed to to give you buys, because that's the early warning confirmation structure that creates the highest probability trades. And you can see how they were highest probability trades because literally, we only had like one stop out today out of like 8 or 9 trades that we took. One legitimate stop out, right? The other stop out happened because I did it on market open like an idiot, but that again doesn't matter, doesn't count. So that's the setup that you can just take over and over and over again. And the only question you want to do there is how much of a stop target you want to use, how much of volatility envelope you want to do. And those are conversations for coaching. That's why, I'll save those ideas for coaching. But there's, a lot of different ways of how you can trade it. The purple dot in between, we ignore it. It's programmed to ignore it. As long as we're in trend and it's programmed to ignore. Okay, sell signal in gold. See? It was setting up. It was starting to clear. Give us a setup here. Let's see what we're gonna do here. Gold. $1.36 on the clock. Gold starting to sell off after a big run through the 440s. Gold getting again slapped back at the 4,050 level. Let's see how far they want to take it back down. So about a third of the room is trading MetaTrader. Okay, so for that third of the room, I'm happy to give this to you. All right, so when I see something like this, also, by the way, this is not a bad time to take a look at a table, right? I will look at the table and I'll see, show me the table, show me how everything is looking, where's the volatility structures are. This should be actually 1, 2. I wanted to do this 1, 2. Okay. Yeah. So these, I thought these were kind of pretty volatile candles. So this is a big candle, right? And the range is like last 10 bars 4 points. It's a big range. If I'm 6 on this, 33 to 28, it's more or less within my stop parameters, so I could live with it. 9 seconds left here. Again, I'm entering on market. Okay, so here, where's my close on the market? I'm in at 29.4, so I want to be at 34, 30.4. Okay, sell market. 31.4. Oh, God, I'm sorry. I'm not thinking through. Should have been 31.4. Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's just try to play it like this. Let's see if this comes back and retraces for me and does my thing for me. The entry should have been at 31.4, not 34. But I was trying to talk and chew gum at the same time. All right, let's see if this comes down for me and does this thing. 30.1. Good, and that trade gets done, and another one in the bank. And while I was looking at that, again, you can't have everything. You had a really strong pull away trade in Nasdaq. You could have done that, right? Could have done two. You could have had both setups, but again, you can't have everything. This was a warning candle, but because the candle kind of retraced halfway out, I didn't have to risk more than the length of the candle to go out there and do the trade. It retraced against me. I kind of did a half-assed job on getting the retrace trade, but then it moved perfectly fine. Right. Good job, Jerry. Good job, Jerry. Jerry did a $1.80 on this. Oh, there's a lot of new evals passed. Oh, look at this, George. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. George gets the little chicken dinner. We're gonna do a little chicken dinner for you, my friend. No music. Just chicken dinner for 3 evals. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So everybody vibing the technique, the entry, the structure, all of those things. Can I explain why market? Great question. Great question. So it all goes back to the technique, right, Dave? If I want to be in the trade, like in other words, I have the label, right? I'm not fucking around and like, oh, maybe this is a good trade, maybe it's not a good trade. I know I have the confidence. I have a 9-to-1, 8-to-1, 7-to-1, whatever the fuck you want to assume as your probability P&L. Confidence, this is a winning trade. So if I have a strong confidence of winning trade, I don't give a shit about price. I just want to be in it, because the negative part about that is it could be a runaway, and then I miss the trade. So that's why my first entry is always limit. Excuse me, my first entry is always market. I'm always coming in market. But then my second entry, where I have the time and the ability to trade the retrace, then I'm limit, right? Well, that's really, really good. Wow, George, that's very, very nice. Good to know that that you really hit him hard. I'm glad. Yeah, so I guys, I have 1-2s as my volatility, and I have a lot of warning signals. I like it. If you don't like the warning signals, make the volatility bigger. My point is that this is, you shouldn't be. This is an intelligent risk component of the chart telling you, hey, this is a big ass candle. You want to trade it? Be my guest. But it's a big ass candle. This way you're not blindsided when it retraces up your ass. That's all it is. Don't take it so hard just because it's got a warning signal on it. Yeah, so George is kind of using my technique of you find, like, I would have been all over this this setup, or which one? This one. I would have been like, 5 large into this one. And if you were 5 large into this one, you were already 1,000. No, 2,000. You're 2,000 to your target. You're 2/3 your target. Then you find maybe one more at like no, sorry, it's 5. You do 5 large, and then if you did a retrace, you'd be 2,000 into the target. Right? Am I right? No. It's 1,000. No, 5 gets you 1,000. You'd be 1,000 into the target. I'm sorry. You do 2 good trades, you're 2,000 into the target, and then you just kind of trade 1 or 2 minis. And in a couple of hours, if the markets cooperate, if you have just continuity here, just look at this. You have 4 continuity signals from 9:30. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inviolable. Like, no, you didn't have to repair this thing. Just doing that, just these signals at size, all get you funded. All of it gets you funded. The horizontal moving average is 200 period. It's just simply flat as a pancake right now. That's why it's sitting around. But yeah, I mean, once you start reading the charts with the dots, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. William, as I told you before, unless you have 4 or 5 accounts to burn, you shouldn't be doing what George is doing and what I'm doing. That strategy is based upon the idea, I'm going to win or I'm going to die. If you're afraid to die, don't do it. You got to have 4 or 5 accounts. I mean, 70% off is pretty cheap. So I think what's the 50,000 at 70? What is that going to cost us? Let's go take a look. Gonna go to Apex. I gotta go to Authenticator. 192.335. 2.335. So if regardless of whether we're buying wealth charts, or let's just do Trade of 8 because we're on that, 50,000. Blah blah blah. Coupon code. Make sure you put my number because that's going to give you the biggest discount. Next. $50. So it's really still pretty cheap. Really, really cheap. You buy a couple of those, buy 4 of those, pass 2 of them, and you're in great shape. That's really pretty good. All right, I'll do this after the show. All right, thank you guys for all the MetaTrader input. Just trying to see if I can get one more trade off before we go. What time is it? We still have a little time. It's okay. So you could really, really see how the coloring, tells you the intensity. The dots tell you the intensity. Labels. You just basically see how the price action is communicated through color and vision to give you just, I think, super clean setups on a scalping basis. Somebody was asking me, does this work on longer term time frames? And the answer is yes, it really does. I was shocked, but actually, if you want to do like 2 or 3 trades a day instead of like 20 or 30, you just want to like pick the big turning points in a day. This thing is really, really good, and we'll talk about that in coaching if you guys want. I do write my own scripts. Yes, this is all my own stuff. It's all written by me, including the MetaTrader 5 stuff was all written by me. That's why I hope you guys like it, because I think it's super. It's geared towards the mind of the trader. So you see another big candle, right? And the warning tells you, hey, this is a big ass candle. Decide how you want to trade it. If you want to trade this thing, I'm not trading it, but just assuming you did want to trade this, you're going to have to eat like $10 worth of movement in order to kind of survive the stop properly. I think that's really, really cool. I don't know. I'm very, very hurt that you guys don't like my warning signs. I could care less. I'm kidding, but but I really thought they were like an innovation, and now everybody's like, I don't want to see this shit on my charts. I just want to see dots. If you guys really want, you know what? As I said, the hack is to just simply set it to 10. But I can definitely just have a checkbox and say no warning labels. Yeah, range is a big issue. That's what I'm saying, Ben. You're right. Like, you got to know. They implicitly tell you, dude, you're in a big range. You're in a vol. The waves are getting bigger. It's like telling you, hey, tsunami is fucking coming. Don't be an asshole. Don't stick on the beach. That's really what it is. It's like a little. Maybe I should do. Oh, maybe. Would you like me to do a little tsunami warning? Should we change the emoji from the warning into the big wave thing? Is that a little more friendly? Yeah. No. I would. Of course, I'll leave the warning, but I'm just saying we could have a checkbox that takes it off for those people that don't want it. All right. Unfortunately, we're kind of doing the 1030 stall. I think there's going to be another big wave, either reversal wave, or I actually think we're probably going to sell off more. I kind of think all right. My predictions are always suck, but I really do think we're going to take 26 to the downside. I think we're going to go back down below 4,000 in gold. Let's see how wrong I am by the end of the day. But I do think we have a little bit more extension coming up. By the way, guys, New York City, election day tomorrow. The early voting is off the charts. 700,000 early voting in New York City. That's like 5.5 times the prior voting. I think, again, I don't want to predict because God knows it's guesswork. But my vibe is going to be much closer than you think, and I think Cuomo has a chance. I think people are waking up to the fact that they don't want to live under communism and terrorism. So we'll see. Keep my fingers crossed. Otherwise, I'll probably be imprisoned by day 2 in the new Stalinist regime that is going to be in New York City. Zoran the Moron, yes. Don't start with me. Remember, I was born under communism, so you can't make an argument with me. I will just eviscerate you. So here's a marginal trade. Like, I kind of like this trade, but again, it's not a classic trade. So this doesn't give you a buy signal because the slope is still red, but it's a white dot, green dot structure. And if you want to get aggressive, and you want to kind of trade this, it's not the worst trade in the world. So maybe we'll do a small size just maybe we'll do small size just for shits and giggles. Okay, let's do this. Oh, am I on the wrong count? What am I on, 29? And now this is actually, by the way, turning into a trade. I thought I was in 29. Oh, I am. Wait. Oh, damn it. I'm sorry. Oh, fuck, I hate this. This is me making clerical errors. Damn it. I hit the gold button. Let's do this again. Buy. All right, here we go. That's the I hit the gold button. I was like, why am I not in the trade? Because I hit the gold button. Let's see if it can hit this. I think it's going to hit this. And the thing is, you see the buy label comes in afterwards. This is kind of you're preempting the buy label. Let's see if this is gonna do me right here. And I'm in at 77. I need to see 87. There we go. And that got done. And this now actually sends an actual signal. Now, you want to take the signal, be my guest. I got to run, so I'm not going to trade this. But this is kind of an anticipatory move. Same idea. The whole point is white dot, green dot is an early warning signal for explosion to the upside. I think this probably has a little bit of continuity. If this candle holds, it's got to hold for further mark, because it looks like we're making a V-shaped bottom. But it's no doubt this is a little bit more risky than taking this early trade. So S&P got a Christmas signal, right? No, you don't. SSX, you don't. That should be part of it should be part of your signal package, I believe. You should have it. Okay, I'm gonna run. I'll take a look at the SSX. If you send me an email, I'll take a look. Let me see if I got anything from you. I don't see any emails. Oh, Boris' question, is it Isabella Stokes? Is that you? What's your real name? Because I don't know if I have an email from you. I don't see any emails from you that you sent me. S5XX info at 25. Huh, hold on. Oh, mailbox.org. Oops, I just saw it. Just 1 second. Huh. Okay, I got you. I started. I'll take care of it. Okay, Atif. I got you. Okay. Ooh, signal in gold. Let's go. Let's do a little bit of gold. That's a big ass signal too. 32. We're gonna wait till we close. Let's just do one more trade in gold. Why not? Let me get rid of the table. $12 seconds left. All right, long gold. Close was 32.2, so 34.2 and 30.2. All right, now I'm all set up. I move my stop behind here. Let's see if I can explode a little bit more. And you know what? I'm going to close it out. Close enough for government work. Last trade of the day. Boom, boom, boom. Nice hit. By the way, the NASDAQ, boom, 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 also hit. So all the boom booms hit. Another good trading day for everybody. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. The tools are all optimized. Wealth charts coming next. As soon as those come, we're going to start trading wealth charts with you guys, which has even faster execution. And MetaTrader 5, MetaTrader 4s for thinks, and for 8 caps for anybody who wants to do this, or for wealth charts. Everybody get yourselves organized. Thank you so much, guys. Everybody, look at this. Jerry doing $200. Jerry, thank you. That my man. Good job, Jerry. $200 on the move. Okay, thank you, guys. Everybody have a wonderful day. I see you guys tomorrow. We're ready to rock and roll. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.